I think it's really important when we're talking about sustainable supply chains. I also want to make the point during this whole conversation that the properties themselves, the business themselves, has to be sustainable. And I quite often, when I'm talking about sustainability, just get it's too expensive, I can't do it. And I think that is a really, really naive approach. So I want to also start off with a very sustainable business model. Before we get into that, so we are a B Corp, and B Corp is basically 5 key areas. So it's governance. As a business, we changed our articles of association to say that we would put people and planet on an equal footing with profit. Workers, it's an American branding. I hate the term workers, but that's effectively our people, community, environment, and our customers. So in terms of the way that we holistically look at supply chain, we need to keep all of those at front of mind. I also think it's really one of the things why I love B Corp, this conversation around getting caught out. And B Corp is very transparent. I will hopefully talk about a lot of exciting, innovative things that we're doing, but we are not perfect as an organisation. And B Corp is very transparent. We are on a journey of continuous improvement. You could come to my business and find something in the sustainability field to pick holes with. And that is okay. I am on a journey. I will never get to the end of that journey. We accredited 3 years ago, we were the first UK hotel group to get B Corp accreditation. We got a score of 80.3. We're just re-accrediting. We're going to get a score of 100.7. So in 3 years, we've learned, we've educated ourselves, and we've gone on this journey of continual improvement. I am going to mention greenwashing because it comes up every time, but I'm also going to hang my head in shame because greenwashing was a phrase invented because of the hospitality sector. So a chap called Jay Vesterveld in 1986, who had a data and a bit of a science background, went into a hotel, saw one of those lovely classic signs you see. If you want to save the world, keep your towels. If you want to destroy the planet, put your towels in the bath. So he actually did a data analysis of that statement and proved that it was absolutely not the case. There was no data or scientific evidence to prove that that statement was true. So hospitality is responsible for this phrase. So the lens that I look through our supply chain is people, planet, profit. And I'm going to start off with profit. So for profit, read sustainability. And I would say before we even start with looking at our supply chain, we have to look at what we are actually offering. So step 1 in the supply chain is refuse. So to give you an example, we, like many hotels 5 years ago, we were giving away 27,000 plastic shower caps a year. Now, not only is that single-use plastic, there's a supply chain, there's carbon embedded in that. So by looking at what you're offering, you can affect your supply chain. It's really interesting. When I first worked in the Savoy, as Alan mentioned, my first job, I spent, back in the bad old days, 14 hours a day. I had to put paper doilies between the saucer and the teacup, so it was all very posh and the teacup wouldn't move. But you look at the waste, I must have wasted hundreds of thousands of doilies, but no one at the time had challenged that as a standard. So before we start talking about our supply chain, look at our product. What are we offering? Why are we offering it? And it's a really important point, and I'll come on later to the design. So that includes the design of the experience, but also the physical design of a product. You then get reduce. So to give you a couple of examples, we specialise in the conference market. It's 40% of my business. FTSE UK 100 companies, FTSE 250. We have to give a luxurious offering, but we have looked at our meetings offering, and we still offer paper pads for delegates. They are made from actually circular paper. Who knew? You can have algae as that forms a paper, and it's circular paper. But we put those pads by the side of the room, so they are still there for the customer, and we have now consumed 60% less paper pads. We are still offering our customer. We're not taking the choice away. We've looked at the pencil offering. We used to give away pens wrapped in single-use plastic. We now give a wooden pencil certified renewable wood, and they have seeds in. And actually, consumption on that has gone up because they're very nickable. So that's one of the good things. I always think people remember us by the pencils they've nicked. I would also like to talk a little bit about part of circularity is digitalisation. I can never say that word very fast. So to give you, once again, a couple of examples, how can we digitalise stuff? So we were like many hotels. On a Sunday, we'd have thousands of orders from the Sunday Times. A big lorry would turn up, and you get a whole wodge of supplements and paper. But what we did is we ended up seeing, could we digitalise it? So now we give through a tablet in the bedrooms and a media partner, we give our customers better choice. They have 260 different magazines or newspapers every day of the week, but it's digital. They have a QR code. Great to see a QR code here today. They have a QR code. They can download them all onto a tablet. So what we've done is actually given, by digitalising the experience, we've given our customers a better choice, a more convenient choice, but we've taken huge swathes of carbon in deliveries, and we've taken physical paper out of the system. I'd also like to talk a little bit about telling stories, because to be profitable, I need to charge a decent rate for my product. If I can't charge a decent rate, so what we do, rather than try and be what I call sort of open sandals, horsehair shirt, I want to just tell lovely stories to my customer. So to give you one example, at South Lodge, one of my properties down near Horsham, we have planted a vineyard. We've planted 5.2 hectares of vineyard. Not new, lots of people are doing that. But then what we've done is we've partnered with Ridgeview, so a fellow B Corp. They're 12 miles away. The transportation, I know, is going to be very minimal in terms of the production. Then we've looked at what else can we do with that vineyard. So we've partnered with Pellegrims, who are a product house. And now if you stay in one of the lodges, the Reeds New Lakeside Suites that we've got, you can have shampoo that's made from the leaves and the sap from the vines. So we're incorporating, it's not just a drink, it's got, you go into your bathroom and you can shampoo and body wash with that product. And then we're taking the pips from that and incorporating that into a body scrub. And we're eventually going to make a gin, a grappa. So, a grappa, I'm half Italian, so the rest of the company tells me we're not going to sell any, but I'm sure we will. So how can we incorporate circularity into our offering, but not only circularity? If you are sitting there on the terrace of the Lakeside Suites with a glass of ridge view from a vineyard you can see, putting shampoo in your hair from the vineyard that you can see, having had a body scrub from the vineyard you can see, I'm telling a really lovely story. I'm not telling people you have to be sustainable. I'm creating an experience. And by the way, I'm charging properly for that experience. So I am a sustainable business by doing that. I also want to talk a little bit, and once again it was alluded to by Simon, about UK Corporate PLC. Every single FTSE 250 company has a Chief Sustainability Officer, a CSR Officer, an ESR Officer, whatever their title is. These guys their job is to make sure their supply chain is doing the right thing. So if we want to be profitable as a business, I need them to buy my product. I need to put my product in front of those people. And if you are not taking this seriously, you're not even going to get onto the purchasing list. So we had an RFP for a client that every 5 years sends out an RFP. And I compared them. 5 years ago, sustainability was about 3% of the questions. This year, it was 28% of the questions. So if you are not doing this stuff properly, then you are not going to get share of pie. And I think that's a great, great thing. So once again, before we get into the debate about all of the lovely stuff, if you do this properly, it means sustainability absolutely pays. So you're going to be killed with stats today, but 30% of the world's carbon is embedded in food and drink. And I'm going to keep making the point. Everyone talks about food miles, but food and drink. So we have a policy. Can we produce our own? We're lucky enough we've got 681 acres of land. So what we do is, can we grow our own, add it to the experience? Can we buy local, less carbon? So we have a number of menus that are 30-mile radius. And if we buy local, we put it into we're investing in the community. We also, internally, because we're a B Corp, we have a metric on how many B Corps, what percentage of spend we have with B Corps, primarily because we trust that we understand how rigorous the process is. Other brands available, so I'm just saying that for you, EarthCheck, great. Great accreditation. So other accreditations available. And then if we can't do that, we verify our supply chain. We partner with SEDEX, once again, other brands available, but we get SEDEX to check carbon, people, are they paying the correct wages? Where's the supply chain end? Packaging. So we make sure we have rigor on every single bit of our supply chain. This is an example of Lainston. We partner with Hampshire Fair. We've got 2 restaurants there. We've got Tom Hamlet, won MasterChef, and we've got a wood-fired concept made from sustainable UK wood, not made from, but the wood in the oven. And Hampshire Fair have amazing partners, so every item that we possibly can comes from within that radius. These are some of our water partners, our drinks partners, and some of them are local, but even we've partnered with Sapling because they're not B Corp certified, but they give us good quality data on what they're doing, and they plant trees and they do all sorts of good stuff. By the way, the product is great. So it's an absolutely win-win situation. I'd also say with the supply chain, this is a hugely complex area because if you just take one thing, carbon, we went into this really focused on carbon, but actually what came out of it was biodiversity. So I could plant, on our 681 acres, I could plant a monoculture of Douglas fir trees and sequester a huge amount of carbon, but actually that's not good for biodiversity. So now we're, on the experiential, we're planting acres and acres of orchards, because then what we're doing is we're telling a lovely story. I'm not telling guests they can't drink orange juice. If I'm serving a heritage apple juice from that county, then I'm going to nudge people in that direction, and I'm reducing my supply of orange juice, which you don't get too many oranges in the UK in January. So educate yourself into the complexities. And to give you an example, we recently built a new product, so 8 lakeside suites. I know nothing about building, but I made a point of talking to builders and sustainability experts in the supply chain. And actually it's interesting, Simon mentioned concrete earlier. We only poured a tiny bit of concrete in this. So we partnered with a company called Rapid Root that basically do recycled aluminium stakes in the ground that are engineered to support the structure. So we poured only in three, a tiny bit of concrete. And I've actually shown it on this picture because that is the extent of the concrete. And there's a lot of carbon embedded in concrete. They are wooden structures. So they were built off-site, more sustainable. English oak, Lego kit, grey water recycling, sewerage that goes into a reed filtrated bed. All of the interiors, the rugs made from recycled fishing nets, the fabrics made from proper corn, the products, B Corp, the lake, introducing experiences, wild swimming. So if you spend time educating yourself, you can make more educated decisions. I would also say, please educate your customers. That affects your supply chain. We partner with Clamato for conferencing on menus. Guess what? A vegetarian meal has less carbon. We serve beef, of course we do. It comes from a regenerative farm. But if I use Clamato, then they're more likely to go for a vegetarian option. Guess what? Less carbon in the supply chain. This is our meetings offerings. I can't stress enough. Redesign your product. Look at every single thing. The glasses in our meeting room are made from recycled glass. The coffee cups are made from coffee husks. That detail, and by educating yourself, means you have a sustainable. So when we talk about supply chain, we always think about the lorries coming backwards and forwards. And yes, that's important. But by designing a different product and by designing where it comes from, you can reduce that carbon. If you have purchasing power, you have the ability to enable change. And there's a great book, if everyone's recommending books, John Elkington, Green Swans. It's that lovely, if I'm influencing my suppliers and talking to them, which we do on an annual basis, we are going to absolutely improve the industry in its widest sense. I'd also say in supply chain, end of life. Really important to look at end of life. So we partner with Olio on food waste, and last year we sent to 6,257 kilos, 14,500 meals to families in a local community that would have otherwise gone in the bin. And by the way, if it doesn't go there, it goes into a rocket composter. It goes back into the kitchen gardens. I'm getting looked at. I've gone over time. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.